1976, a letter arrived from the American school. I was teaching in the German school here in The Hague, and from the American school in The Hague, which at that time was running a Model United Nations conference. But my students, of course, I was teaching English to German students, and I thought, well, if they took part in this conference, then they'd get some practice speaking English, even if it was American English, you know. I mean, so I asked if anybody wanted to do this, and two of my students volunteered, and I said, I don't know what it is exactly, but you're supposed to represent a country. I went over in the break, my lunch break, and said, how are you getting on? Yeah, we've done this and we've done this, and we've signed a treaty for this. And I thought, what? And my two students, they were blown away by the whole experience. And they said, well, you know, this is what we have to do to prepare. So the next year I sent another delegation, 5 of them this time, right? And said, but I hadn't done any training, you know. The third year, right, by that time the students had just told me, you've got to run a club or something. We've got to know how to debate in English. We've got to know the rules of procedure. We've got to know about the United Nations. So I said, well, okay, start an extracurricular club. And they did. They modeled it on the one that the American school was running, and they called itself the International Political Association. It was the most popular extracurricular activity in the German school.
Wow.
You know, sometimes I hear that MUN is for nerds or something. I said, no, in the German school it was the coolest thing to do, right? And I said, if the American school can't do this anymore because it's too big for one school to handle, then we should, you know, set up a foundation with the 3 schools as hosting schools, and then we can take some of the load off the American school. And but to do that, we needed to have financial control, because we was hiring the building and everything else, and so that's why we set up THIMUN. So the Hague International Model United Nations Foundation was set up in 1981. Right? 1982 was the first THIMUN conference, as opposed to the first Model United Nations conference. Right? For the first years it was American school activity.
Yeah.
We started writing THIMUN rules, you know, which varied a bit and were more conducive to good debating, really, than actually producing something worthwhile.